It is fun, isn't it? Welcome to Unfiltered with Matt and Nige. I'm Nigel Walsh, and
I am Matt Connolly. Hello.
how am I more excitable than you right now,
You're
Mr.
not.
Matt?
I feel you think this. It's just the way I look. It's the. I am very excited today. The sun is shining, and for all the UK listeners, all the UK listeners, all the non-UK listeners, it's a rare moment in time, right? This we've got to enjoy it.
So now we're being very British, even though I'm Irish, because we're talking about the weather. Even before we
Straight
get
off.
started,
Straight
it's
off.
a great icebreaker, no matter
It
what.
is always.
Although you can't see it, I have an electric blanket on my lap because I'm cold.
Nigel, what have you got on your feet? That's something I've been wondering.
I will show you, just because you've asked. I will show you. Are you ready?
Yeah, no, I
I
don't
have
think
got
I am. I was
the
hoping
Croc.
it was going to be.
The
Are they
fur-lined
lined?
Croc.
Wow. So they're very much an indoor croc.
I have I have a whole debate about Crocs. I can't stand them. My
okay.
son many years ago made me go and buy them because they were all wearing them. And I then thought, oh, these are quite comfortable. I've got a pair of indoor ones and a pair of outdoor ones. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you've got like 20 pairs of Crocs.
The croc guy. Have you seen there's always the person who's running the half marathon. In fact, I can't remember when it was. I think it was last year around the Bristol half and got overtaken by, I think, a lady wearing Crocs. Maybe even a teenager wearing Crocs. I was just like,
Honestly, there's folks wearing
humiliating, isn't
Crocs,
it?
there's folks wearing high heels. When I ran, I think I got overtaken by a chicken. I was dying towards the end. And you're like, really?
Yeah.
I've trained all this time. I get overtaken by a chicken.
I did the it's Mr. Tickle for me in the London Marathon. I was just like, and then everybody on the sidelines like, here come the costumes, here come the costumes, and then that's all you hear for like an hour. Here come the costumes, because it's like, exciting for everybody. But yeah, Mr. Tickle.
You know what? Kudos to those folks that can run with a fridge on their back or whatever
Yeah.
else they can do. It is just bonkers. It is just bonkers. So
It is. Now tell me, what's going on? How are you? How's your week?
it's been amazing. It's a busy week. Like it's a busy week in London, obviously. Insurtech Insights. You'll tell us more about that in a second. It's just been a busy week. In fact, let me scrap that because busy week is a bad thing to say. It's been full on in a really good way. I've kind of been on the ground for a week and just plowing through stuff. We've got a whole bunch of new starters in the team next week, which I'm really excited about. More to share when we come back together again next week. I would describe my week as relentless, and there's no end in sight, which I kind of like. But I'm also then fascinated with how you get through it all, how you get prioritized. A mate of mine, Dan Murray Serta, just pushed out an email that said something along the lines of, write down your top 6 things that you need to get done tomorrow and start with those. Not 7, not 5, 6. And it all goes back to a story he had previously, which was really good. And I might sit there and do that later. I'm sitting here with a to-do list that must have 60, 70 things on there. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
It's just not possible. What about you?
Also a phenomenally good week. Because I think because of Insurtech Insights, and all credit to Christopher and team for pulling off such a great event. You get your clients, your friends, your connections from all over the world. Definitely European dominance, but all over the world coming to London. And when that's your hometown, right, it's so much fun. And
It really is.
I don't know how they manage it, but every year the sun is shining. I come back to the old weather comment, but it's lovely, right? And so, yes,
It's a great spot. The bright blue
is.
sky. I saw loads of photographs. It was very cool.
It is. And then I stayed in an apartment in Canary Wharf, a penthouse, albeit there were still 20 stories above it, but we were on the 32nd floor. And it's beautiful. I've never sort of lived, albeit just for a few nights, in Canary Wharf, but it's a really cool spot. It's definitely like, a non-family, bunch of kind of, you work hard, play hard, single kind of folk in these tower block living. But it's it's cool. I liked it down there.
Is it though? Like I've always thought, this is going to be controversial. I've always thought Canary Wharf is quite soulless.
I don't know. Well, I mean, look, it's a few nights. It's a few nights. The sun's shining. You've got this amazing view over what you've got water and a lot of glass, and then you're looking over to the banks. I liked it. There were bars, there were restaurants, there were coffee shops. It felt a genuine, real buzz.
Yeah,
and then the block we were in.
I don't spend much time over there. For me, it feels more banking than EC1 or whatever else.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know what you. Maybe the weekends are going to be dead, right? But I don't know what more you want. If you are working early till late, we had the 96 chat, right? If that is your life, then what more do you need apart from a few bars and coffee shops and the rest?
Totally fair. Like somebody will go work out. Like if you go do the triathlon or the whatever else is down there as well, right?
Yeah,
You go
sure.
in and out of the water. You got City Airport. It's got everything. Like there's loads of cool things to do, and actually the shopping is really good.
Yeah,
Speaking of which,
there was. Yeah.
speaking of which, I said to my wife the other day, I go to do a workshop. She went, "Yes, you work, I shop." She got that off of Instagram. It made me laugh and then cry.
Mate, it's not just you with the dad jokes. Look at that. Amazing. Anyway, so no, I thought it was nice. And then, yeah, did a few runs around the water, the Keys. And yeah, and then ITI was hectic but brilliant. And yes,
You know,
Tuesday was client meetings back to front, all day, whatever I'm
what are
trying
you
to say.
Irish now?
Yeah, and then Wednesday, Thursday in the Intercontinental at the O2. So yeah, cool.
Maybe what we need to get Rory Pike to go do, given that he's been teasing you and I about Insurtech Run Club that I clearly founded, was we need to get himself Insurtech Swim Club round the O2 bit.
There we go.
Rory,
It
there's
was,
your challenge, my friend.
because I had done the London Triathlon in one of the docks, right, a few times. But I think one of those docks did open for public swimming. I can't remember which
That's
one
right.
it was.
I think I read that actually. I can't swim very well at all. I'd love to be able to. But B, when I was reading about it, they said drink a can of full fat Diet Coke and it will kill all the germs that you're about to consume.
Yeah, I mean, but you hear the stories about the dead dogs floating past, and
Oh, don't say that.
I don't know. Yeah,
Don't
come on,
say that.
let's talk some insurance.
What's going on? Come on. So you and I were chatting earlier this week, as we always do,
Yeah.
about all tech doing the same thing. What is going on specifically in the world of consolidation or things? Like what are we talking about? What are we not talking about? In fact, use that though in the context of InsurTech Insights. What was big? What was not?
Yeah. Okay. So I think one interesting observation was you will be looking at or talking to a founder, CEO, some senior folk on a stand. Left of them, right of them are startups, scale-ups, tech vendors doing exactly the same as them. And you go from one conversation to another conversation, and it's the same pitch, same message. They're all incredibly excited about the opportunities and threats, but the opportunities that AI allows them to advance their product, to evolve what they're creating, to be able to on the fly, like the morning of another client pitch, to bring something to life in a demo, through vibe coding. It's like, whoa, I mean, it's really, and bearing in mind, it's our job at Sonar to be able to differentiate between these companies and to be able to put those best companies forward to our clients. It's a really tough gig, right?
I was going to say it's getting harder and harder, right? Because as all of these things converge, it's going to be quite difficult.
But also those that aren't hugely capitalized, i.e. the majority of the market, right? It's all relative. But they have to stay in a lane because they have to focus on what they do and what they do well and offer a solution to a specific problem. But these problems we talked about, the kind of the solving of problems through point solutions. And actually what often clients are needing is they're needing a much broader solution. So that either comes from on a client, the reliance becomes on the client to then either build an ecosystem of point solutions or find an alternate, right? Which is the big tech, whether it's ServiceNow or it's other vendors. But it's a really interesting challenge because what we're seeing and what we're hearing from those on the panels is they are actively moving beyond the POCs, beyond the pilots, to a point where they're delivering value, but at a very restrained or contained level.
I completely agree. Like my whole mantra is that the future of insurance is orchestrated, not built.
Right.
I.e., there will be lots of pieces in the puzzle that you've got to join the dots on. You will have point solutions from startups or even huge organizations doing a piece of the puzzle. But because the insurance value chain is so broad and so long, you don't necessarily want a monolith doing everything from end to end. And as you acquire, as you dispose, as you do lots of things, you then bring things into the estate and dispose of things in the estate. So you kind of want that steel thread to be able to go end to end and then hang things off of that over time, but with the ability to change those. So one of my other, like you know me in phrases, I'm a nightmare. One of my other ones is frictionless insurance in a land of utility, i.e., how can I turn those things on and off? I'll give you a really good example. Ingestion. For years, I've been talking about, or we've been asked to help out with, hey, I've got an SOV or a claims form or a medical form or an image. Let me have that piece of information so I can bring it into my underwriting or pricing or claims process, whatever else it might be. But the difference between a medical form, a picture of Matt's dodgy knee because he's hurt himself, or a bashed up car, or something else entirely, is different. And you might need different technology to solve that different problem. Now, before we used to go, hey, what's in there for accuracy? I think we switched from choose the right thing for the right task, number one. But then number two, help me govern and control so that when I do join all these dots together, I can actually get visibility and inspectability end to end across all those things. Yeah. Without that, you're just joining loads of things together. You're going to end up with where we were with applications, which is massive application sprawl.
There's a lot of chat about data in as well as data out, which, I mean, it's such simple terminology, right? But again, to what you're talking about, where I think you know how kind of the headline chatters, you go from kind of embedded to AI agents, right? And then within those, you've got these kind of different conversations taking place, and there's very much that kind of, like as I was saying on the pod, I think the other time I was at the QuantCon, the Quantexa event, and there's lots of talk around data there, and that seems to get carried through at a broader level. But yeah, that orchestration stuff, I mean, that's that really was a topic of conversation. It was quite
good, right? A friend of mine, Dan Huddart, CTO over at Avantia, wrote a really good post on the event itself, and actually in there he called out the folks that own orchestration will own this going forward, which I said to him, oh, hello, did you know what ServiceNow does? Not that this is meant to be a pitch in any way, shape or form, and me teasing Dan as always, but he actually wrote a really good post, so well worth, we'll put it in the notes as well, well worth picking up with a few of his favourite things that he had seen, whether it was Score or one or two others that he liked. So really good, and actually always nice to get a buyer's view rather than a seller's view. It's all well and good going to me or you or Rory or whoever else, because we're all in the provider side. It's really good to get the other side of the coin to go, what did you think? And was it a trade fair? One of my issues with conferences more broadly, where tech vendors are talking to tech vendors and it's all very friendly, or actually are we progressing and moving the needle forward?
Yeah. You know what? Trade fairs are a really interesting comment, because you do hear that, and we've got some sessions next week from our clients who were both able to make it, but also not, who want us to talk through what we saw at the event and just that general kind of sense of. And there's, you hear all that. It's the same people on the same panels. It's the same conversations that we're having. They never get too deep. There weren't enough carriers or brokers or reinsurers or whatever it is, or but then equally you hear fantastic event, amazing that everyone's getting together, the sun was shining, I can't wait for next year. So it's always that balance, but it's really interesting, that marketplace struggle that these events have.
It goes back to is that not a story in life in general? Like my oldest friend used to say to me, Nige, you can't please everyone all the time, whether it's work or personal or whatever it might be. But broad consensus from folks I've spoken to on the buyer side has all been really upbeat. Conference is very mature, better than others, right thing that's going on. It's 5 years in the making. So kudos to Rory. I do give him a hard time. Red Low and the team.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was a great event. Sorry I missed it.
Yeah. Why did you miss it? Just too busy?
I'm going to stop using the word busy. I had just prioritised other customer stuff that was going on this week in the city.
Done, mate.
Honestly, it's like I just need more hours in the day. Like you know already the hours you and I text each other.
Yeah.
The day.
I know you didn't even come for dinner with us. We had our summit after hours. Whatever, shunned. I was Nigel Walsh, shunned.
Hey,
anyway, but it was good.
I get to speak to you all the time, which I'm very lucky about. The other thing though that was big on stage, and I think there was a comment from Allianz that Rory Yates pointed out to me, was we've moved beyond the POC stroke testing phase, and now the issue openly is how do we scale this damn thing?
Yeah.
Something that you've seen as well, or
Yeah, I mean, you're hearing it a lot. I think that's it. It's and not only how do we scale it, but we're not scaling it. I think it's probably and the two are connected. But you hear it, but I think that's the phase we're in, right? And we've kind of, I don't know, I think I used the phrase last time, but like pilot purgatory is kind of like we're hearing that or similar a fair bit, and I think that is it's how do we as organisations now create sort of growing momentum with those projects that we've been testing and validating in, and where do we take that now? And there's all sorts of there were a couple of different sessions which I was enjoying around what is the reason that this scaling isn't happening. The proximity to the business, not the sponsorship, but the ownership of these projects.
but how is that different to innovation? You've been doing innovation and insurance.
Oh,
for
it's not.
decades.
But this is it's the same, right? But it's
Right.
but this is a phase of. This is we have tried, we have tested, we have validated, that it will be or could be successful, and we've done that in iterations, whatever that looks like for different companies, and it's just that maybe last, but it's certainly the next phase, right? And I think that's just where we're at. It's 2026. We've been doing this for years. Go on.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, but equally, back to our earlier conversation about consolidation of technology, whatever else, and you're almost sitting there going, I think Gartner used to call it two-speed IT. You've got the speed and scale of AI, which is operating at a mega pace and mega scale externally if you go to hyperscalers or AI companies.
Yeah.
Then you've got the scale and speed of AI pilots. And then you get to plug it into the organization that's running at a very different speed.
Sure.
And it's the age-old story is you can only go as fast as the slowest moving component. And guess what? Your organization, whether you're a multi-billion-dollar carrier or tiny MGA, runs at a way different pace to the speed at which these things are doing, number one. And number two, you can't just plug in, warp speed 7 to plodding along slowly and comfortably and safely unless you've got the right guardrails.
Sure. Yeah, and we heard that, and again, it was it was a phrase that was used both for the employers. You'll have heard it for the employers as well as the businesses, which is you're not going to be disrupted, if we can reintroduce that term after 10 years. You're not going to be disrupted by AI. You're going to be disrupted by the business, your competitor that is using AI. Yeah. Right, and it's the same. You're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to someone who's using AI.
And I think it's really true, by the way. I think
me too.
More true
right?
than ever.
That's probably why it's stuck in my head as opposed to all the other content that I heard. But it's great, but it is that moment. You're talking about putting incredible technology into businesses that are risk adverse, slow moving, and not necessarily incentivized to change.
Yeah.
Right. And so when are they going to? That's a topic we will continue to cover.
But it's incentivized to change or forced to change top down, which I think is really interesting. Mm-hmm. But I think we said this before as well. The other thing that I like at the moment is it doesn't feel like the ceiling is being raised as much as it was before with Insurtech and innovation mindset. It feels like the floor is being raised. So everyone's actually leveling up at the same time. What we have to do now is give them the right tools, give them the permission, get the change management in place to go make that work, which I'm actually quite excited by.
Yeah, me too. But I think there's also it's easy for you and me to be talking about, the floor coming up, the ceiling coming down or staying the same, whatever it be. But there is so much of even just within insurance, right? And I'm talking carriers, reinsurers, brokers that haven't even got on the innovation bandwagon yet. Right. And we're talking about not maybe the 1%, but maybe the 3%, and it's how do we open this knowledge, this experience, this kind of, I don't know, this experimentation up to the wider industry, because this tooling can accelerate those guys at rocket pace. Right.
But there's a great example right in our front lawn. Right. So if we look at what Lloyd's of London have done this week, Blueprint 2 has been paused indefinitely.
Yep.
Massive transformation. They talked about it as a moonshot in the press earlier this week. But in parallel, you look at it and the results they published. There's $1 billion extra in investment income. There was a 10% uplift in profits. There's underwriting excellence. There's so much more. And what they called out as one of the positive things was look at what went on with Lloyd's Labs. and a way
Sure.
of bringing scale and innovation in almost the speedboats versus the oil tankers. So you, the things that we've learned from that have said what works, what doesn't work, as now they start to rethink how they continue to transform their business going forward. So I think it's right in our front lawn. It's the global home of insurance. I'm actually quite excited to go, what's next? Is it going to be a moonshot or is it going to be a roof shot in my old Google words with the incremental pieces that get you there in a different way?
No is the answer. I really don't think so. I think it is, again, I'm using IETI as a very recent focal point for this comment, but everybody is looking at the Horizon 1 stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you have to, yes, I mean, there is a small fraction of what does the future look like from a Horizon 2, Horizon 3, but all the workload is this evolution as opposed to revolution.
Yeah.
And therefore, when we're talking about moonshots and the rest, really, are we going to see any of that? I don't think so. There will be one or two exceptions, yes, and there are some incredibly fast scaling tech sort of solutions like the Boltecs of the world that have come from nowhere to where they are today, Series C, and flying, but they're rare, right? They're really rare. And so I don't know. I'd love to believe. Everything's turned up like upside down. I'd love to believe prevention is going to come in before we retire, and and then we're going to see some. Hey, yeah. No, and you have I saw one of the best panels for me was, I don't know if you know Lorcan Hall. He's from the industry. I think he's still kicking
My
around.
fellow Irishman, you mean?
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So really love that guy. He was on stage with Hayley Maynard, with Danilo Raponi, and a guy from somewhere else, and forgive me, that guy.
No, you've not forgotten.
No, but he wasn't. He's on the tech vendor side. Anyway, look, I know Danilo and Hayley and Lorcan really well, so that's terrible of me forgetting this chap. I'll apologise when I see him. Anyway, they were running a panel. So Lorcan was moderating, but just came out with a different question set and looking to the future and much more kind of innovation focus, Horizon 3 stuff around, really, where will it, imagine tomorrow if AI was, and it was these kind of posing these challenging questions. There was, in fact, where I'm going to dig these questions out. I've got something on my phone, I am sure.
I bet they were in a world of automation, AI.
Have you seen it?
Is it your Sonar newsletter by any chance that you just
Yeah. I think I used that was so that's Hayley in the green, who is doing the she's done it once before. I said it's the evolution of man. Oh man, it's so funny, but she's like out of her chair. It's just, she's brilliant. Yeah, so in a world of automation, AI, everything, and what stays the same? In 9 months, the last human will be born. What will change, and how do you think the world will change around you, or something like that? And then if Silicon Valley writes the rules of technology, it's kind of like who's winning? Is it the billionaires? Is it something else, right? But it's just different questions making you think, and I loved it. And they're such thinkers, right? I'm going to find out who this guy is as well.
It just re-emphasizes why I love this industry. Like, it's just good people all round on a mission to try and save. I don't want to say save the planet, but literally save the planet. Right? We are in a really good spot to go make an impact. I often think about your point about innovation from privately held companies, mutuals, and publicly held companies.
Okay.
Like, does having shareholders change the way you think about short, medium, long-term innovation versus mutuals that have no shareholders other than owners and being completely private, going, I do whatever I want?
Yes, I'm like, if you are completely private, I think mutuals and what do I think? I think if you're completely private, you have, and it's the same as a startup through to big co, right? I think you have this flexibility. So it's why we've never taken funding as a business, or one of the reasons. The other reason is we're absolutely atrocious and no one's going to invest in us. But I love the fact I can make decisions, or with my team, we can do whatever we want. We can try whatever we want. We are we have 3 rules, right? We look after our clients. We look after our colleagues, and we're not dicks, right? That's it. That's the only thing that we focus on as a business. And then we can experiment, we can try, we can, and we have to run a very professional business. Of course, we have to make sure that our cash position is good. We've got all the right things, right? But it's very simple, very straightforward, and but yet I still have ambitions to take the business public at some point because I've never rung the bell in any of my businesses, right? I'm really keen to do that. But what's that? I mean, that's just ego. That's nothing more than that, right? And so,
hang on. I don't believe you because you're not an egotistical character. I would say that's more about challenge. You've not done it before, therefore I'd like to go learn how to do it. And I'm curious. Nothing to do with ego. You're one of the nicest humans out there. Sorry, buddy.
No, I like it. No, it is exactly that, right? And I also was really jealous because my wife's sister, so my sister-in-law, she took her business public, and she was never. I mean, she's not even a startup guy or girl, and superbly jealous.
So that panel was great. What other panels were great?
There was a brilliant panel talking of Lloyd's Lab. Rosie wasn't there, but she was hoping to be, as I understand it. There was a panel that Nick Reed, I think his surname is, from 90, so Dan White's company. I think Nick's like principal consultant or leads the 90 practice. And he was on stage with, it's in fact Danilo again from Generali. And it was with...
he's got good value for money out of this.
Mate, he's such a smart man. It's like, I think he was like, I don't know what he studied at Oxford, but he was, he's so bright, but he's then also really funny, and then he's also really Italian, and there's like this perfect blend. I love it. I really do. Anyway, and then Harrison from, I think he's MTech. I don't know him, but he was also great value. And they were talking about, and this is what I loved. It was rather than talk about what's rosy, they were talking about why things fail. And in particular, innovation labs or accelerators, and I loved it. And then one of the key questions that kept, the silo that is it called silo? You can throw in your questions at these panels, and it kind of you can then vote on it, raises to the top. Was why is Lloyd's Lab so successful? Because we're talking about failure, and sadly because I was on the front row and I kind of wanted to answer that on the basis that we're like Lloyd's Lab scouting partner. We've built all the tech for it. We kind of like
the reason they're so successful is basically Sonar is what you're saying.
And I'm not. I don't want to plug us, but if we weren't there, it would collapse. No, I'd love to claim it, but not. But yeah, so they were brilliant. I think because again they were just talking really openly, and really with loads of experience, right? And it's really valid.
I like looking at all the stuff online as I was trying to follow as much as I could. I did give a few of the folks a hard time on all the manuals. There seems to be lots of
mate. I know Matt Berger was on one, and it was 4 guys in suits. I mean, really smart guys, fantastic. But
if they're friends of mine, they usually get a picture of the Backstreet Boys with a dude, WTF.
Yeah,
and they all know what I mean. They all know I'm a pain in the backside.
You sent it to me. You've done that to me with the last couple of years.
In private, not in public.
Yeah.
It's on all of us. It's really on all of us. I know Rory's done a great job with women in Insurtech and a whole load more, but this is the front phase. These are the pictures that get posted online. So, hey, there's work to be done. I know it's not easy. As I said, kudos to them at the outset, for they've done a really, really good job.
Yeah.
How do we fix panels going forward?
It's a really good shout, mate. But
I don't mean the gender balance or whatever else. I mean how do we make them more fun, more engaging, more challenging, like a Haley and Danilo and Lorcan?
It's difficult, right? Because I was having a chat with Arslan, who we still have to get on the pod, and we talked about it last time. We will next time. But it's because for him and it's for all the others, they are constrained by their comms team, right? So you get what you want to hear. You want to hear about the successes and failures at the top level, right? These big companies that have power, control, huge audiences, and an amazing position to change. But they are contained. They are contained by what they can and can't say, what they can and can't present, and it's a tough gig, right? Because you're on stage, you're in front of hundreds of people, and then you are thinking in the back of your head, well, I can't use that word. I have to use this. I can't use that case study. I must use and so it kills it a little bit. Even though again, Arslan did a fantastic keynote. I saw Massa from or Namadami-san probably is better. I address him as that from Tokyo Marine. Brilliant keynotes and sharing amazing content. But when you get those guys in a conversation that is away from camera, the depth of storytelling is different.
That's why I personally enjoy things like Chatham House rules dinners, where you go and have dinner like you did with
even though you said
20 or so friends. It's a quieter evening. I'm getting old. My hearing's going. I find it easier to concentrate. It's a nice bit of food. and you can have a decent conversation about industry off the record and whatever else, which is really, really cool. I get most of my information from and my insights and my thinking with peers like that. It's really, really cool. Back to Dan Huddard's point, he said, what did he say? I loved his comment. He goes, the thing I hate is a vendor and their favorite customer backslapping each other, which I thought was really cool. Going, he's just calling it as it is. And the same for Jason Howes back to Allianz, going, scaling AI is really difficult. So I think we need to have a bit more radical candor when we're on stage, right?
Or, and this isn't a plug for something I've been vibe coding whilst in London, Nigel Walsh. But it's or you use the events where you don't have, right? Because we haven't moved beyond that depth for, well, since they started, as far as I'm concerned, right? Wherever this event is around the world, and no matter how niche an event it is, still the content is slim. You use the events to connect the people around a topic of interest, and then you have those Chatham House rules contain small groups off the back of it, right? And then you meet up, and then you go deep. And whether you can make it or you can't make it, it's bringing those like-minded people are together in some fashion.
Like you see people that click and go, we can have fun, we can go have these conversations, we go figure it out. The things that are public, and the things that are private will stay that way. It just works really, really well. Speaking of people, I know we're almost at time. The one thing that scared the living God knows what out of me this week was Louis Theroux's new documentary on Netflix, like complete left field from what we were just talking about, The Manosphere. And I say that as a father of a teenager. You've got a few more years to go. What did you think of it?
Mate, so I caught it. I watched it. I watched it whilst on the Peloton, you'll be pleased to hear. Love it. We love a good Peloton, don't we? Mate, I thought it was haunting, and it stayed with me. I think it also worse possibly because I didn't watch it in one go. I watched it in two halves, and so really kind of like it stuck with me, and then it just got worse, right? But these individuals, I think both you and I are very balanced in our view of the world and how it should be versus how it is sometimes, right? And and I've got a 7-year-old boy. We are very much a no phone, no social media. It's very easy at age 7 to be that, right? And we've already got the pressure of my friends are playing video games and the rest. And I know Manosphere is somewhat different to what I'm talking about here.
But it's the start. It really is the start.
Freaking terrifies me that these individuals exist spouting what they're spouting. Try not to swear there. And that they have such enormous audiences. And then it's really interesting. Well, sorry, go on.
I was scared by folks that went up to these guys in the streets, whether it was New York or Marbella or wherever they were. They recognized them and they were like, oh, we're big fans. You're just a good dude, really. You're misunderstood. I'm like, wow, this like genuinely, I think the moral compass that I've got is pointing in the right direction and good. We brought the kids up well to be sensible, have their own things, and whatever else. But it was an interesting conversation. I've got a 16-year-old son, so it was interesting to hear his perspectives without giving them away here or whatever else. But I'm comfortable with where we landed on it. But it was like those sorts of things scare me and make me realize that the gap between our generation and the next generation is quite scary. And then I go, actually, I think to your point about social media, what they've done in Australia, they've done now in Indonesia, there's talk of it here, there's a new law that has come in after campaigning, is probably the right direction.
Well, I'm 100% behind that. It's like I ban it until we're at that age. And but these are, they were talking about, I think it was a 13-year-old kid maybe was mentioned in the documentary, but the kids who are coming up to them on the streets, they're 18, 19-year-olds, right? And that whole kind of conversation, they're talking like this with their hands, and they're replicating these guys. It's like, and you can hear the same phraseology just coming out that they're hearing online, and then they're using them in their interviews. It's like,
hey, more importantly, did you notice Louis Theroux was wearing a whoop?
Oh, was he? No, I didn't. That's great. Brilliant. That's really funny.
We relate more to that bit rather than anything else that was going on. Anyway, brilliant. We are at time. Matt,
we are.
What are you wearing on your feet?
Touche. Okay, so we had this chat before. I thought I got away with stitching you up. You ready? Here. This is what I'm wearing on my feet. It's a nice sunny day, but still chilly.
What does your wife say about you borrowing her Uggs?
Oh, she doesn't. She has her own pair. In fact, my boy has his own pair too. It's a family, three of us. I got some little booties for the dog as well for skiing.
I love
so,
it. I
so
love
there you go.
it. Say no more. Say no more.
Ah,
Hey, look, fab
pleasure.
conversation as always.
Thanks. Yeah, likewise, mate. What are you doing this weekend? Nice things? Super quick. One favorite. Number one thing you're looking forward to? Go on.
My daughter's production. She's in a dance show. She does dance 4 or 5 nights a week. She loves it. We're all going to go see her. She's been practicing for months. She's very excited. It's hard work though. She's been out. She's put so many hours into it. It's like, can't wait to go see her. What about you?
Good. All right. Dinner Saturday night, lunch Sunday. So a lot of food, a lot of training. It's all about balance, right?
It's perfect. Just sounds perfect. Where can people find Matthew Connolly?
Oh, that's an exciting thing, isn't it? I mean, sonar.global is the obvious. LinkedIn on social platforms, not really. I'm such a stalker on Instagram now. I was so active previously. It was just like I just dropped off. I'm all about LinkedIn these days, right? Albeit I'm not. I'm pretty crap actually at the moment, so I need to ease up my game.
I feel I love it. I love it. I love it. I go for a walk every day, as you know. I'm on there, consuming, posting, commenting, engaging. Absolutely love it. If you want me, you'll find me on LinkedIn. That's it, folks. We will catch you next week. See you soon.
Big love.